Hey guys, my name is Kat. I forgot to record an intro to the video that I just concluded recording. I actually finished around 30 minutes ago, so the coloring in the shade of my skin is due to the light in the background or in the foreground, I guess. So my goal is to post weekly videos on intentional and mindful eating with a more minimal approach, so without cluttering rules and restrictions. So that includes tips and tricks as well as other goodies. So if you like what you hear, please go ahead and subscribe down below and hit the bell icon so that you will be notified whenever I upload a new video. So with that, today we are talking about my minimalist approach to nutrition and nutrition coaching, how I kind of mash the two together, and that's it. All right, so see ya. Let's go ahead and jump on in. We are talking about having a minimalist approach to nutrition. I was kind of thinking about how I have incorporated my journey of minimalism to my nutrition coaching and kind of how I approach that and my philosophy around that. So, a little background. I have been on a minimalist journey for the last year or so. And that doesn't mean that I have only like 100 items or 50 items or whatever. I still have a lot of stuff. It's definitely a journey and something that I'm continuously working through and working on. But what I mean by minimalism is not so much the amount of items that I have, but it's more about using it as a tool in order to help me get free from like this consumerism culture kind of thing. And it's about making decisions on whatever you want to purchase, whatever I want to purchase, to be very intentional in that whatever I am bringing into my life, whether I purchase it or get it for free or whatever, that it does add some kind of value in my life and that it's not just going to be clutter essentially, and that it's also going to line up with my values and what I want, how I want to live my life. And that goes from just all different areas in my life. The goal of having less clutter around for me is to reduce the amount of distraction. I get distracted very easily. It's just about being able to better focus on my life values and my goals, essentially. So that's what it's about. So I found this really good quote from this article on becoming minimalist. So it says, "It is the intentional promotion of things we most value and the removal of everything that distracts us from it." So I wanted to do a video on my minimalist approach to nutrition because I feel like as I have been on this minimalist journey, I have taken a lot of the same kind of concepts and use them in my nutrition coaching. And how I do that is by really focusing on that intentional promotion of things that we value. When I was kind of gathering my thoughts on this, I was looking through a whole list of different values, and I found the ones that really fit into how I value or how I want to value things in my life. And so it just lined up so well with my approach to nutrition. And so I wanted to share that with you. The first value is simplicity. So how I approach nutrition is pretty simple. Yes, there can be a time and a place for a little bit more of a prescriptive kind of plan, but in general, I like to approach nutrition very simple as I can. I want to reduce the amount of decisions that my clients have to make throughout the day. So by doing that, it reduces that decision fatigue. They can better focus on making the changes that we talk about in our one-to-one meetings, and they will have better results overall. They'll feel less overwhelmed, and they'll be bogged down by less of those little things that don't really matter and just clutter up everything. Number two is kind of a mixture of a whole bunch of values, but I think they kind of all fit really well together. And so that's fun, vibrant, not boring, and creativity. And so food doesn't have to be boring. I have a lot of fun with my food. I do enjoy cooking, but I also don't want to spend a whole lot of time in the kitchen, which I guess kind of fits into the simplicity part. But food doesn't have to be boring. I use a lot of seasonings, a lot of really great herbs in my cooking, and you don't have to cook just bland chicken and broccoli and this other like diety foods. I want it to be fun. And I also try to learn different types of cooking, like how to cook different, and also trying different foods from around the world. It's one of my favorite things to do. Yeah, just having fun with your food. So that doesn't mean that I have to eat something different every day, or for every meal it has to be different. Throughout the week, I will eat pretty similar things, just because in my life it works really well to prepare a good amount of my food on the weekends and kind of mix and match throughout the week. But what I'm talking about for variety wise is that from week to week, it does look pretty different. So I think it's pretty cool. All right, then number 3 is quality. So, what I mean by that is I want the foods that you eat to be very nutritious to your body, and I want the foods that I eat to be very nutritious to my body. And it doesn't have to be expensive. Yes, there are a lot of foods that are high quality that are on the pricier side, but there are also ways, that little tips and tricks or hacks, whatever you want to call it, to have really quality food in your diet so that you can fuel your body in a really nutritious way. All right, so the fourth value is grace. So, whenever you are making changes to your nutrition intake or your diet, whatever you want to call it, you want to have some grace. And I never expect any of my clients to have a day where they just eat perfect, or weeks that they eat perfect. That's not really realistic. And whenever life happens and kind of gets us off track, it's understandable to kind of fall off the wagon, essentially. And so that is one of the things that I help people do, is to not fall off the wagon again. And there are several different components to that, which I could make a video on that. Good idea. But a really big part of that is giving yourself grace. A really big step to that is giving yourself grace whenever life happens and your intake doesn't go as perfect as you want it to be. And side note, if you hear something snoring in the background, it's my dog. He is laying down right over there and he is in a deep sleep. All right, the next value is sustainability. And so this can go two different ways. The first way, I think, is what most people, or what a lot of people think of when they hear about nutrition and sustainability, and that is a great thing. Of course, we want to choose foods that really support a healthy planet for us and for our future generations. But what I really focus on is sustainability in your nutrition intake, or in my clients' nutrition intake, and just having nutrition habits and patterns that are sustainable, that you can continue to do, not just a month from now, but a year from now. I care about how you do after 3 months or so of working together. But what I really care about is how you're going to be a year from now, 5 years from now. I want to really focus on the sustainability of your nutrition habits and patterns. Okay, so the last value is another mix mash of multiple values that I think fit really well together, and that is enjoyment, vitality, energy, and confidence. So I want to eat food that makes me feel good, and I want you to eat food that makes you feel good, both physically and mentally. And I want the food that I eat to bring me joy, whether that is in how they make my body move and feel good, or to think clearly, not foggy headed, and also my taste buds. I want to enjoy what I'm eating. I hope you do too. Food doesn't have to be boring. In my sports nutrition background, I think we hear a lot about food is fuel. And while that is true, food is so much more than fuel. And I want to help people just kind of experience those other sides of food, that it's not just about giving your body the energy that it needs, but there can be enjoyment in that too. And that's something that I think is really cool. All right, so that kind of wraps up my minimalist approach to nutrition, and kind of how I approach my coaching with nutrition as a registered dietitian nutritionist. So again, Food is just something that adds a whole lot of value to my life, and it does require some intentional thought at times. At that same time, not allowing excess stuff to get in the way from essentially living my best life is really important to me, and I really hope that it's important to you too. And it's just something that I hope my people do to live more in line with their values and how they want to live life. Again, if you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell icon, and I will see you later. All right, bye guys.